Our Technical Manual 5685, Navy Fac MO 912, Chapter 7, Routine Maintenance Instruction. Manufacturer provides specific information, use of care of each of the product with the instruction result of the wide experience with the observed obtained under various conditions should be filed with closely maintained personnel should always check with the equipment the first line with the physical damage before any other checks. Routine maintenance instruction give the scheduled inspection, primary move of the generators, excited with which give the need with the surface repair with the indicator refer to the manufacturer, literature, specific information. Should the records auxiliary power system are filled with the installation engineering office. Maintenance information provided with the manual supplement manufacturer's instructions does not supersede them. Checklist schedules furnished herein intended with the guides operative service personnel. Since auxiliary power systems are operated intermittently, usual time frames of routine maintenance should be weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, but may not apply. When short term is due to the task of the perform less frequently, exemptions are not. Nor the manufacturer's manual electrical systems acceptance tests are functional tests verified with the proper interaction, all of the sensing of the process of the action, electrical device of the critical of the test to perform standby with the generator power system to certain with the operational reliability of the system. The system must be tested for the United Series of devices in addition to the testing individual components. For a system that include auto start with the auto transfer and automatic synchronizing equipment every 6 months utilized with electrical power should remove the open circuit breaker with the building part of the facility with the supply with electrical power with the commercial power generation combination insertion system will operate under the abnormal conditions. 7.2 Primary move of the maintenance. Routine maintenance instructions for the primary move of the long term of the diesel and gas turbine, short term diesel checklist of the inlet. General comments before performing any of the required following checklist review. Station log 6 related record of the manufacturer's recommendation checklist value. Check the value of valve operation. Full injection oil. Check fuel injection oil. Secure the mounting connection each time the engine shut down. Took down the nozzle according to the manufacturer instruction. Starting system, check with the general condition, air compressor, airline valve, and applicable brief opening of the system safely valve weekly. Check for proper operation, refer to manufacturer instruction detail, generator, governor alarm and instrument. Check operation, governor alarm and instrument with refer to manufacturer instruction, pressure gauge. Check with the pressure gauge of the cleaner exposed with indicating elements refer to manufacturer instruction. Intake exhaust system. Check with the air filter of the engine exhaust. Small smoking exhaust indicates incorrect adjustment. Clean air filters are necessary. Exhaust lines clean. Inspect the exhaust lines. 2-cycle engines. Remove carbon from the exhaust ports. Clean the thermocouple referral to the manufacturer instruction. Frequency checks. Evaporator cleaning, refer to manufacturer's instruction with the cooling tower maintenance, inspect oil fan shaft bearing, oil damper bearing linkage, inspecting spray nozzle, clean as necessary, clean pump suction screen, clean some of the inspection cooling soil with the CL form with the circulating cleaning solution, and operate the fan while cleaning coil with a check with the belts with the condition, proper attention, refer to manufacturer's instruction. Fuel oil system, check the fuel oil stream with the required with the operating condition, check with the system components with the clean condition, refer to manufacturer recommendation. Fuel filters, central fuses, check with the fuel oil filters, central fuses, check with the fuel oil system for leaks, correct with the required, refer to manufacturer instruction. K. Lubricating system, check with the mechanical lubricating hourly during operation, all hand on the lubricating points following the manufacturer instruction, correct leaks. Site feed lubricator, check the site feed lubricating was strained with the necessary, check for the adequate lubricating supply. Lubricating oil filters, check the oil filters, lubricating oil filters, check and replace filter elements necessary. Your piston assembly connection rod, the 2-cycle engine, remove the upper handhold, the inspection cover the side of the engine immediately after the engine is shut down, inspect the piston for the proper lubrication, cylinder and cylinder head, for the compressor air with the roller, the indicator connection, clean with the indicators installed, refer to manufacturer instruction. Crankshaft with the crank pin with the main bearing with the crankcase cover immediately with the after the engine shut down with check with the main crank pin bearing with the proper lubrication, check with the proper bearing temperature for the excessive heat with a hand touch, refer to the manufacturer instruction, the frequency of the check. Gauge and instrument, verify the gauge and instrument with the up-to-date with calibration certification rate, and record all indications of the gauge of thermometers, other instrument with the regular intervals required with the operating log. Turbocharger observe every 4 hours during operation, check with the general condition with the side of the vibration equipment. Evaluate vibration as prevalent. Turbocharger impeller. Check with the turbocharger impeller accumulated dirt axle in play. Dirt may indicate faulty filtering. Equipment to clean. Service according with the manufacturer instruction. Long-term diesel checklist. Diesel engine perform checklist tasks is related to the frequency, extent, the use of the auxiliary power plant. General comment: the following tasks should be performed annually, but unless otherwise found with a performance short-term check. Checklist schedule valve with inspection. Inspect the exhaust valve to remove the carbon 2-cycle engine for the valves necessary for the manufacturer instruction. And then that valve with inlet. Inspect with the regrind inlet. exhaust valve, valve teeth necessary for the manufacturer instruction. Valve springs and guides, check with the valve with the spring length with the tension of the inspect valve system. Bushings, guides only with the after 2,000 hours for use, whichever comes first. Replace parts as necessary for the manufacturer's instructions. Alright, camshaft and drive. Check with the adjust for the gear with the time chain with the further manufacturer instruction. Camshaft with the bearing, inspect the adjust for the camshaft bearing clean with the further manufacturer instruction. Fuel inject with the nozzle inspection. After 2,000 hours with the remove and check with the nozzle with the test stand with the strip with the test nozzle with the following manufacturer instruction. Fuel injection pump with inspect the fuel injection pump, securing the mounting of the clearness of the proper operation. Fuel injection pump inspection, disassembly, recondition of the injection pump nozzle after 2,000 hours. Repair and replace worn, damaged parts. Reassemble the adjust for the following manufacturer instruction. Drain water air lines with the tank monthly air is necessary for the drain valves, usually located at the lowest point of the air feed system. Air valves, clean air valves, receive the necessary for the manufacturer's instruction. Air compressor disassemble overall with the air compressor starting with equipment every 5 years based on the frequency used with the auxiliary power plant. Pressure gauge inspection, check with the date with the calibration barrier with the gauge with the valid calibration certification. Calibrate manufacturer instructions are required. Alright, governor, overall governor over the 2,000 hours. You would need with the indicate with the repair place with the warm with the damage part with the resemble the adjust the following manufacturer's instruction. Muffler silencer. Keep the muffler, waste heat, equipment the boiler with the heat exchanger with the clean with the accumulation of unburned lubricating oil with the sole, assume with the carbon potential fire to make sure the fuel combustion is efficient and possible with the refer to manufacturer's instruction. Cooling system, inspect with the pipe with the valve with the leaks, and with the clean with the heat exchanger with the pure form with the cooling system, the maintenance refer to appendix D with the hearing with the manufacturer's instruction. P. Cooling tower drain with the cleaning with the cooling tower clean, inspection pipe with the circulating pump with equipment that refer to appendix D. Cooling system serve with the clean, inspect with the enter of the cooling system area with the overall pump with the reconditioning valve with the other equipment is necessary with the refer to manufacturer instruction. And then alright, your fuel oil tank line, the drain strip with the tank line, with the remove of the water segment, check with the heating with the coil for the proper operation for the appendix B. Lubricating oil cooler, clean and inspect with lubricating oil, leave with the conditioning outer surface and must off with the dusty operation condition. Most efficient cooling for the manufacturer instruction. Crankcase, drain with the crankcase semi-annually, more frequently, number of hours ran with the manufacturer recommendation, except with the industrial engine maintenance. Proceed with the inspect with the lubricating oil pump, flush crankcase, refill for the manufacturer's instruction. 2 for the Army Oil Analysis Program Technical Bulletin 430210 for instruction. Lubricating oil pump, inspect with the pump after 2,000 hours with the use of the proper operation. Refer to manufacturer instruction specification proper. Cylinder heads, remove the cylinder head with according to the manufacturer's instruction after the 2,000 hours. You will inspect with the cylinder line with the clean with the inspection water, check with the remove of the scale with the corrosion is necessary. Inspect with the measure diameter with the cylinder line with the check with the gasket needle and the brightness of the crack with the install with the new gasket. The necessary piston assembly inspection 4 cycle engine pull 1 piston with every 2,000 hours with the inspect with the proper cooling, lubricating carbon deposit. Inspect piston ring of the wristband with the cylinder line with the compliance with the engine manufacturer's specification. Alright, X. The inspection piston, pull pistons after the 4,000 hours of the engine use. Clean and inspect all of the parts of the wear, proper lubrication, cooling, verify the rings of the ring clearance, comply with the engine manufacturer's specification. Y. Cylinder inspection, bearing the device, barring devices, jacking bar to turn each piston to the top dead center during step X. Inspect each cylinder liner with the scoring, refer to manufacturer instructions. Z. Anchor bolts, check anchor bolts for proper torque value. AA, fly bolts refer to the torque value, refer to manufacturer's instruction, verify alignment, couple to generator comply specification. AB, main and crank pin bearings, remove the bearing cap of the crank, check journals, bearings with the proper lubrication, wear, scoring, check the main bearings, proper alignment, refer to manufacturer's instruction. Crankshaft, verify complying with the engine manufacturer's specification, examine the crankshaft for cracks, measure distance between crank web with the crankshaft with the deflection check with the journal level, clean oil or passive, replacing the bearing necessary, adjusting running clearance, following the manufacturer instruction. Turbocharger inspection, diesel, disassemble, clean, inspect the entire turbocharger following the manufacturer instruction, overall inspection. General overhaul, other overhaul diesel engine driven equipment that even every 10 years or about 16,000 hours. Auxiliary use follow the manufacturer recommendation instruction, comply with the manufacturer's specification. Short-term gas turbines, short-term checklist for the gas turbine, check limited with inspection. Cleaning tasks can be performed on the exterior engine. General component of the before performing any task required with the following checklist review of the station along with the related record of the manufacturer recommendation. Following precautions must be met. Shut the engine down. Apply with the do not operate tag with the test of the operation control. Open the automatic start circuit. Deactivate the fire extinguisher system. Keep all the engine enclosure during open while working on the engine. Allow the engine to cool down before working. Checklist inlet inspection. Verify the inlet drain with the low parts of the duct is opening and free over the obstruction that's over the moisture rain. The condensation can run off. Check inlet temperature sensor for the sign of the damage. Check the sensor for the surrounding air with the approved solvent to remove the dirt and the contaminants. For the manufacturing instruction, make sure the Sierra sensor is securely attached to the engine. Your exhaust inspection. Visually inspect the engine, exhaust casing, truss, strut, and center body with the crank cracks, nicks, and other sign of the damage. Refer to the manufacturing instruction. Inspect the exhaust stack. Freedom of the obstruction. General good condition. Alright, chip detectors. Engine usually have plugs on chip detectors lubricating during the normal operation. Fuzz, like printer, will found in the detectors. All of the material, non-metallic sludge, other flakes or bronze powder, aluminum chips may accumulate on the plugs. For the manufacturer literature, specific information, check with the tip. Detectors electrically continually will installed. Continuity is an indication for the contamination. Remove the chip detector is contaminated. Discard making, cleaning chip of the detector. Chip detector good thread of the proper magnetism. Place new packings on the chip detectors and install engine tighten proper torque. External inspection, inspect the engine, the tube hose fittings, electrical assembly connectors, security, overheating, damage, or leakage. Perform inlet and exhaust inspection described previously. Check with the standoff bracket the struts of looseness, cracks, damage. Check the igniter exciter with the igniter plug with the leak with the damage, overheating. Secure with the check with the mechanical control signs. Excessive the wiring, wear damage. Secure with the check with the fuel manual with the manifold for a sign with the damage. Security with the rust or corrosion. Alright, your long-term gas turbine. Long-term gas turbines usually affect the in-ear area of the engine, but is seldom performed in the field of the repair of the necessary involved with the chain of the component balance relationship that should be performed with the designated the overall location for the manufacturer literature of the information. Alright, 7.3, your generator excited with the routine made with the instruction. The generator is excited with the consist of the short and long-term checklist for the rotating static type. Short-term checklist for the generator is excited. General comment before performing any of the tasks required with the following checklist review. The log sheet related the record of the manufacturer recommendation checklist. Air screen filters, and it can be chained with the airflow restricted enough to increase the generator operating temperature. Refer to manufacturer literature. Decider coupling, if available, the wind with the generator is used with the shutdown prior operation. Wipe the off except for the lubricating coupling with the prevent splatter. Couple leak with the alignment when the generator has shut down. Check with the lubricating leaks and tightness of the coupling. No any advance evidence in proper alignment. The corrective if necessary. Axle position of the primary move of the generator. Exciter shaft with the correct alignment and angularity. Bearings lubricate the generator with the exciter bearings required. Refer to manufacturer literature with the instruction pressure for the non-pressurized lubricated bearing. Rotary exciters, brushes, and brush rings for the removal of the carbon dust with the collector ring with the communicator vacuum drive with the compressed and air about 25 psi with the monthly with the check with the brush with the wear with the indicating the arcing shattering with the monthly with the addition slipping the ring with the refer to manufacturer instruction. Static excite with the verify the equipment cleaning with the free with the dirt moisture verify that all the connections are tight. The check with the connection with the corrosion cleaning of the required long-term checklist for the generator exciter. General comment the following tasks should be performed annually even unless the otherwise found with the performance of short-term checklist and scheduled coupling lubrication during lubricant disassembly cleaning with the coupling annually whenever necessary. Resemble the new gasket. Fresh lubricant refer to manufacturer instruction flex coupling. Brush replacement brushes have the worn half of the original length would play with the sheet properly. Adjust the brush wriggling within 2 to 5 to 3.6 psi with the brush rigging surface. Repair with the place damaged worn brush rigging parts refer to manufacturer instruction. Alright, your brush electrolytic action with the curve of the collector ring surface of the action form the drainage coating with the verdigris on the brass bronze on copper effects with the action with a reduce with eliminating reversing polarity annually with the required refer to manufacturing structure. Communicator collector rings, communicator collector ring vacuum cleaning filter dirt when absorbed proof solvent and dry with the compressed air at 25 psi. Check roughness hard spot with the out round conditions. Serve the communicator collector rings are necessary file with the manufacturer instruction. Alright, your rotor windings. Rotor maintenance begin with the measuring and recording the insulation resistance before the unit is playing with its surface placed and surface refer to manufacturer literature instruction. The rotor should be thoroughly cleaned annually with the inspected its fouls. Check the damper wind with a loose bar with a connection each bar of the ring with a segment. Check with the joint with the ring segment with the between poles. Rotor manufacturer instruction. The check with the clearance of the earth manufacturer specification between blower coilers. blower and coils. Check with the field coil with the movement and separation. Check with the duet and oil with the winding and the air passes. Check with the condition, turn-to-turn insulation on strap field coils when verifying condition of the ground insulation on pole pieces. Check all connections between field coils, lead out connection, collector rings measured, recorded insulation. Resistance between the field coils, ground, including collector rings. Refer to manufacturer instructions. Check with the bearing journal dampers for the excessive wear. Compare micrometer reading of the manufacturer table of wear. Limit the prepare with replace the mechanical parts that meet with the specification. Dry out according to manufacturer instructions. Prepare insulation damage coat. Approve of the insulating varnish. Rotor bearings. Measure record vibration limits for the repair with until the stated with this manufacturer specification. Vibration limit the specific unit static and the dry and the dynamic balancing unit according to the instrumental necessary. Alright, your stator winding. Measure the record of the insulation resistance between the stator winding and ground of the machine terminals annually. Stage your service of stator annually, cleanly, thoroughly. Inspect the following: broken, damaged, loose, missing wedge, movable, distortion, coil, insecurity, all lashing, spacers, tightness, and coil supports, cooling passages, open, cleanliness, looseness, coils with slots, cracks, or other damaged cooling insulation concerns between coils around frame. Measure record insulation resistance between winding, grounding, and machine terminals. Compare value of the record with the machine with the first put in service. Checklist schedule of solid excitation and solid state. The equipment is not required for the long-term check. With the equipment that does not function with the properly refer to manufacturer literature for information repair replace as required. Routine maintenance instruction switchgear consider the short long-term checklist. De-energize switchgear, perform and maintenance, disconnect primary and secondary sources of power short-term from switch gear. Show components performing any of the tasks required with the following checklist. Review the station log sheets, related records, manufacturer recommendation, National Fire Protection Association 70E electrical safety requirement, employee workplace checklist. Panels, other exterior surface of the panels. Exterior surface must be kept scrupulously clean at all times. Relays, actuating mechanism, cleaning inspection relays, accumulating actuating mechanisms monthly. Many times relays are used and identified as relays such as thermal conductor, current overload, overspeed, liquid, oil, weakening, oil pressure flow with the frequency chain with the preferred manufacturer literature inspection procedure. Verify all of the connections tight and free with the corrosion conductor coil, clean and inspect with the conductor's coil monthly. Verify with the coating of the insulation varnish, good condition, clean, smooth, polished. There are no indications of overheating, corona, arcing, switching. Inspect switches for proper alignment of the contact, firm contact, smooth operation monthly. Burning pitted cord, copper contact surface may be dressed with 2/1 sandpaper to not adjust silver contacts. Circuit breaker to typically triple clove of the circuit of the breaker with the check of the proper operation. Quarterly check of the time and the freedom of the movement. Manufacturer's instruction. Coil and heaters, check of the coil and heaters quarterly with the screw of the mounting of the circuit. Continuous control of the camera. Control thermostat with the proper operation with the preferred manufacturer. G. Contact, check magnet surface with the contacts quarterly with the cleanliness. Remove the gun, rust, or corrosion. Adjust for the even contact pressure according to the manufacturer instruction. Voltage regulator, check voltage regulator, proper operation, adjust the quarterly varies, make the type of the U with the preferred of the manufacturer literature with the instruction. Long-term checklist, switch for the performance task, relate with the frequency extent with the auxiliary power plant. General comment, the following tasks should be performed annually unless otherwise noted. Following performance should be the short-term check with the procedure generally or apply primarily with the draw-out equipment. Your checklist schedule, meters and instruments. Check with the meters and instruments again for the verified standing of the return, the defective and inadequate meeting the instrument, manufacturer designated prepare, locomotion, serve the calibration. Buses, inspect bus connection signs, overheating, weakening, insulation supports, overheating and indicate with the discolorization bus part. Inspect isolated with the cracks and or ice tracks of the replay with the defective insulator with the tightened bus part, terminal connections to proper torque value, indicating device interlock, check with the indicating device to interlock with the proper operation for the manufacturer's instructions. Disconnect the device, check property, disconnect the device, contact single with overheating abnormal wear, clean contact still with the cleaning, polish, clean, disconnect the device, apply with light coating, approved lubricant, enclosure, verify interior arc, bolt, anchor bolts, structural bolts are tight, inspect cable connection, sighting, signs overheating, tighten, loosen connections required. Circuit breakers manually operate each of the breaker with the test position. Verify the proper operation for the manufacturer's instruction. Environmental conditions. Most frequently, inspection switchgear must be made with the unusual conservative conditions exist, such as contaminating fumes, excessive moisture, extreme heat, or cold. Additional protection may be required with diverse conditions present. Ground resistant measure record ground resistant. Even the ground resistant test site. Compare the value of the recorded during previous tests to indicate the ground system effectiveness, possible deterioration since last test. Alright, Chapter 8, Lubricating Oil Purification.